guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Lauren. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well. Today I am going to be sharing with you, oh my gosh, I almost hit myself in the face. Anyway, I'm going to be sharing with you swatches as well as this demo for Sigma's new mod palette. This just came out and I was actually really excited about it. It's another rosy tone palette. I feel like they're taking over my life lately. That's all that I feel like is coming out between this, Patrick Ta, the new NARS one. I feel like the Artist Couture palette just feels like a lot of these tones. So yeah, I am excited to share this with you and do some swatches, see if this is something that you might like. I also thought I would do some comparisons as well with past Sigma palettes. And so yeah, let's just do that. We'll get into swatches and that type of stuff. Timestamps will be down below. I'm not wasting any time today. So yeah, get where you want to go, but let's get into comparisons first. I'm going to start off with the Sigma palettes that I have. So I'm just going to show you them up next to each other so you can see in case you have other palettes and you kind of wanted to know how different they are. So this one here is the Ambience palette, and then down below is the new mod palette. So lots of difference here. I mean, this is like warm brown neutrals and this is rosy. Really no overlap. I feel like they're similar to each other in that they have a theme and they kind of stick to it, but definitely not similar tones in each one. Next, this is Sigma's Enchanted, again against the new mod. I feel like there's a couple tones in here that maybe could work. I feel like Plume and Artsy are kind of similar, but not exact. Artsy in this palette definitely has a deeper base on it. This one's a lot less monochromatic than a lot of the Sigma palettes. So yeah, that's the Enchanted. And then we have Cinderella, and these are definitely different. Again, Fantasy is getting kind of similar. They love this type of tone. It's like a darkened base with a raspberry shimmer. They love it. They love it. It's like in every palette. But otherwise, I would say they're pretty different. Again, this one has a lot more color selection going on, purples and blues and teals. Whereas again, we're getting something very true neutral in this palette with rosy tones, you know. I think the closest 9 pan that I happen to have is the Spicy one. Can we do this? So Spicy has, I don't know, it's not rosy, but there's something almost more red, I guess, to this one. But I think this definitely has more color to it. So again, I don't think really competing. These two shades are kind of similar, but one's obviously way darker. This one's in the new mod. That one's in the Spicy. So yeah, I don't see anything that's like an exact dupe, but there are a few colors that seem a little bit similar throughout a couple of the different palettes. I also wanted to give you guys a tiny little overview of what this like color story looked like against newer, more rosy and pink tone palettes that I've gotten recently. So this is the NARS palette, and then it's the Summer Unrated, and this is obviously the new mod. Oh my gosh. This one leans more warm toned. It has some like orangey browns in it, and you're not really getting that from this one. I would say this one goes more toward purples, if anything, kind of more mauves, and this goes more pink and orangey while still being rosy. And last comparison real fast, I wanted to show the Patrick Ta palette. I think this one's gonna be the most similar, but again, I feel like this leans warmer and this leans maybe more neutral slash purple. It's not cool. I wouldn't say there's a ton of stuff that's cool toned in here, but it's definitely not as warm as the Patrick Ta, but very similar. I feel like these are definitely close in color. I would say the biggest difference, if you're looking for something that's a little bit more everyday, I do think Sigma's more that brand, and I feel like some of the textures in this one are going to be a little bit more like special and flaky and that type of thing, a little bit sparklier and chunkier. Plus it has the creams, whereas the Sigma palette doesn't, so that's something to consider, but probably the closest I have, and they both recently came out. I hope that was somehow helpful. I just thought I would give something kind of quick, a little bit of a reference in case you wanted that, to see how similar things looked at a glance. But let's get into swatches and I'll describe each of the colors. This is a 14 pan palette, so there's lots of shades in here. Again, we're going with those rosy, mauvey tones with a few neutrals also also mixed in. So the first shade is called Haute. This is a champagne golden shade. This looks light, like it's the lightest shade in here where you would use it to maybe do your brow bone, your inner corner. But I do notice that on my eyes, it's a little bit darker than I expect every single time I've used it. So just something to note. It has almost this rosy under base to it when the color isn't hitting the light. It's really pretty, but definitely makes it a little bit different for the inner corner than I expect just looking at it in the pan. Next is the shade Sophisticated. This is a cool toned, kind of mauve-y, I want to say like a minky brown, like that's what I think. It has this purple kind of grayed undertone to it, but it is brown overall. Next, Posh. This one's a beautiful satiny, almost metallic shade. It's a rosy mauve, kind of like those withered dead petals type of thing. I really love that as a single shadow look. Looks amazing, like looks so good. Next on the top row is New Mod. This is a matte. It is a rosy muted pink color is how I would describe this. It definitely shows a lot of that pink on the eyes. I don't find it gives me much depth, but it does definitely bring in that pink rosy color. Then we have Avant Garde, another shimmer. This one has a duochrome to it, and this is one of the ones from Sigma where it has definitely sparkle, but I would say the sparkle is more finely milled. So it has this warm, ready, rosy base, and then the top has this really pretty violet blue sparkle to it. Beautiful duochrome. I think it's a really fun shade in the palette, and I think that it adds something a little bit more. I'm glad they included it with everything in here. Then we have the shade Edgy, another matte. This is a deep like burgundy plum. It's not super dark, but it definitely has a little bit of neutrality to it and is one of those shades to like deepen up a look while still being colorful. And then last on the top row is Glam. This is a beautiful bronze. It does lean warm, almost has like a golden shift, but it doesn't lean too warm. I feel like it's just right over the line into warmth, so I think it plays nicely, and I think it'll be really pretty with some of those more burgundy, purpley tones on the outer corner. That would be a really pretty look. Moving on to the bottom row, we have the shade Preppy. This is just a matte bone color, a creamy color. It has this light pink hue to it, but overall, I mean, it's just a matte cream. Then we have Vintage. I think this one's quite unique and really stunning. It is a neutral shade, but it has those like little micro shimmers in it of a bunch of different colors. I can pick up some green, I can pick up some pink, I can pick up some purple, I can pick up some golden shades. I think it's a really pretty one. I can imagine this looking really great on the lids. I haven't used it yet, but that is definitely one I want to get on there. It's like a really smoky one shadow-ish look, maybe something in the outer corner. Then we have Street Style. I think this would look great actually with the Vintage shade in the outer corner. So pretty. Something about those two and just this shade in general kind of gives me flapper, you know, flapper vibes. Really, really love that one. It's this perfect in between of colorful and neutral. Then we have the shade Flashy. This is a warm pink, kind of maroon type shade. In some lights, it looks a little bit more orange and brown. In other lights, you can definitely see that pink kind of shine through a little bit more. I wouldn't say it's a duochrome, but I do think that the way it reflects changes depending on how the light's hitting it. Then we have Voguish. This is a matte, more purple tone. This is definitely the most purple in here. I find this similar to Edgy, but again, this is purple. Edgy has a little bit more brown, a little bit more red in it, and this is gonna bring home that purple. Then we have Artsy. This is kind of a duo. I would count this as a duochrome. It has a blackened base, and then on top, this violet kind of pink raspberry type of shimmer going on. I feel like these shades, I definitely have seen them before, but I still think it's a really beautiful one in here. Add something really sultry to the palette. Definitely a bit of a deeper look on me, but I do think it's nice. And then last here, we have the shade Grunge, which is a charcoaled brown is what I get. Like it's not black, it doesn't look gray, and it doesn't look brown. It looks like a mix of gray and like a really, really gray, almost a soft black mixed with brown. There's something to it that doesn't make it black, and I think that's really great actually for the palette because I feel like it complements things a little bit more and isn't as harsh. So I like that they didn't go with a straight up black, but it is going to give you some depth, just something a little softer. All right, so there's the palette. Lots of rosy tones in here. I feel like you're going to get a very similar look, something pretty neutral. You can pop it with that purple a little bit, but a lot of neutrality coming from this palette one way or another. And basically basically everything kind of goes with each other. And so I think a lot of your looks might be similar, but they are going to be really pretty. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the swatches, and let's get into the demo. I'm excited to show you how I got this look today. I think it's really pretty, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get on to the look. I think that I'm going to focus on like these top 4. That's what's calling my name. I really want to try to do something that I would wear more every day. Sometimes I get a little fancy on camera, and I'm going to try to just do something a little normal or every day really. So I'm going to go in with Posh first, which is a satiny type color. I want to see how this works as a just all over. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so excited. I didn't prime my lids. I'm gonna prime. I'm using the Sigma Sorbet. I've been loving this, and it just so happens to work absolutely perfectly with this palette. It's like a bit of a rosy color, and I find it works really well for priming. And then I just blend out with my finger. Okay, now that that is done, I'm actually gonna go in with that Posh shimmer shade, this kind of taupey rosy color, and I'm gonna be putting that all on my lids. I feel like this will be just such a pretty one shadow look. Okay, I love that as a one shadow look. Like so pretty. It's like a perfect shimmer finish, I feel like, for that. I'm gonna go in though and add the shade New Mod, this one, and just see how that works in the outer corner. I feel like this added more color than it did like actual depth. I think that's super pretty. I'm gonna go in and I think deepen it up even a little bit more with Edgy. And then I'm just going back in and kind of blending everything out. I'm gonna use Haute, this shade here under my brow bone. I'm also gonna add that to my inner corner. I haven't done the inner corner yet. I'm going to do this lid shade, the Avant-Garde shade. I'm going to tap this just kind of over what we've already laid down, just to add something kind of special. Especially in this like top area. Okay, now going in for the inner corner. And I'm just gonna deepen up the outer corner again, just a little. I'm gonna go back in with that Edgy shade. Just using my tried and true Pixie liner on the lower lash line. And then I think I'm gonna add mascara before I do anything else. I don't want the bottom lash line to be too heavy. I wanna keep a lot of the color and everything happening on the top. All right, I feel pretty good. This is what the eye look looks like. I think it's really pretty and soft. It's definitely mauve-y, but that kind of blue duochrome we put on the top kind of at the end, I think like pulls it a little bit more purple instead of only rosy and a little bit more warm. There's definitely something mauve and again purple going on. So let me do my lips. There were some lip glosses in this collection, or 2 lip products. There's this one, and this is a gloss. This is the shade Passionate, and then there's also New Mod, a liquid lipstick. I don't really want to wear the liquid lipstick. I would rather wear the gloss right now, but this is like a brush tip. I didn't realize theirs were like that. I don't know how much I love this, but I'm gonna try it with this. We're gonna see. So I'm gonna line my lips first. I picked out this NYX liner. This is the shade Beige, and it kind of has a shimmer to it. I don't know, I thought it would look good. Okay, I think I got just like a lot on my lips at one time. I'm gonna blot. I really don't like the brush either, the brush tip. But the color I think is nice. Just a little bit deeper than my normal neutral, but I feel like it'd work for a lot of other skin tones. It's really pretty. So yeah, okay, that is the look. Let me talk a few thoughts about the palette. I'll zoom us out a little bit more. So far, first impressions using this palette, I do really like it. I'm just into these tones, so there's that. I feel like there's a lot of room in here to do something rosy and mauve, but also some neutrals as well. Off the bat, I'm thinking, let me see. Yeah, you could definitely do something more neutral and kind of forego some of those rosier tones. And then you could obviously incorporate them together and do like this kind of golden shade with a burgundy outer corner. That would be really pretty. And so I think if you're into neutrals that are kind of neutral leaning and then those like rosy mauve tones, I think you'd really like this. We're also getting something kind of special in Avant-Garde, which is a bit of a duochrome. I feel like Artsy also has something special. It's like a blackened base with this kind of raspberry shimmer on top. And then even with Vintage, that one is also quite pretty. It has this multi-dimensional, different colored sparkle throughout it, even though it is more of like a true neutral color at the same time. So I think those are kind of the standout shades when we're talking about the shimmers. I do feel like with some of the mattes, we're getting a little bit of repeat. Like we have Voguish and Edgy, and I feel like they're pretty close. Not exact. Voguish has a little more purple in it, but I'm just saying I do think that they could be a little different. So with this palette, definitely know you're probably gonna get more similar looks to each other, maybe switching up the depth, a few like different lid shades, but you're not gonna get like drastically different looks from this palette. But I do feel like that's what they're going for. I mean, it matches the packaging and kind of the whole vibe. I really like it. The Sigma formula is very different than a lot of other formulas when it comes to the shimmers. The closest thing I can think of it is kind of like the Milani eyeshadow formula. I think that they pop more and look better on your eye than they do maybe in the swatches. That's kind of what I've noticed. The shimmer formula is like pretty thin, and the particles, although they're very sparkly, aren't super chunky, so they're not really big. And so if you don't like something textured, I think this shimmer formula and even the more textured shadows from them might be for you. I really enjoyed actually the satin. That was like one of my favorite things. I really wanted to try it. Posh, and it kind of looks like nothing in the pan, but on my eyes it was so much more metallic looking than it looks in a swatch, on my finger, in the pan. And so I definitely think these kind of transform on your eyes a little bit. Maybe, at least in my experience, I feel like the look is prettier on my eyes than maybe when I swatch it. So far I'm pretty happy with this. I do think, you know, depending on how many of these types of rosy tone palettes that you own, you might want to see if it has overlap, if there's something better for you. Maybe this is the right option, maybe something else out there is. But I would say that these mauves kind of go more neutral. They can go warm, but they're not super warm. I feel like the Patrick Ta palette goes warmer. Other palettes I have that have more of the rosy tones go a little bit warmer than this one does. So far pretty happy. I hate the outer packaging. Honestly, like I get the vibe. I think it goes with it, but it's gonna get really dirty. Yeah, it's already, look, I already got it. As for the glosses, I like the color of the gloss. I don't like the brush tip. It's so long. It's like a creepy long finger or something. And I don't know, I just did not enjoy applying it. So there's that. And I haven't tried the liquid lipstick yet. This looks like something that they've done though. Like this is a very, what seems like a classic kind of Sigma liquid lipstick color. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my thoughts and seeing some swatches in case you're wondering about this palette. I definitely think it's pretty. I'm excited to have it and keep wearing it. I don't know, I just have a lot of rosy palettes coming into my life right now, so I'm not sure what's gonna come out, you know, on top when it comes to use. That's just going to take a little bit of time to figure out. But I'm happy to say that I do think the quality is there, and it's more, I think, preference on what kind of textures you want. And if you want something a little more low-key, I think this is better. better than maybe something like the Patrick Ta or other ones coming out. So I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.